August 8th, 2012, I met the man who I thought was the love of my life. Correction, I met him a few days earlier and we'd been talking for a few days. Bear in mind I say days, and we had been talking online for a few days. He had a job, he worked full time. He was probably the most successful 18-year-old I knew at the time. And he knew all the right things to say. And when I say he knew all the right things to say, I mean to say he didn't know how to act, but I did not know this at this point. So August 8th is when we officially got together. And this is the most unromantic story ever, but we were literally in McDonald's. We had been to a YouTube meetup, which I did have footage on this account about that, but I think I've privated it now, I think. Anyway, so we had gone to a YouTube meetup, and we were in McDonald's afterwards, and he called me his girlfriend, so that was kind of like the official relationship thing. I was so happy that day because I was going through such a rough patch in my life. At this point, I had undiagnosed depression. I didn't know that because it wasn't diagnosed, obviously. But I was going through such a rough patch that, I'm going to take these off because of the glare, that him saying that made my life at that point, made me so happy. So we were together for a few months and we were really happy, or at least I was really happy, I don't know about him. And then 4 months later, to the day, he proposed, and looking back now, it was ridiculous. 4 months is, in my eyes, not long enough. If you guys want to get engaged in 4 months, that's fine, but in my eyes, that is not long enough. Obviously, I said yes because I was in love with him. Little did I know, he had so much control over me that he knew I was going to say yes. He knew that the only option in my head was to want to marry him and want to move in with him and things like that. He knew that. I didn't. Now I know that from day one he was controlling. He controlled me. He controlled what I wore, what I said, where I went, who I hung out with, what I ate. He knew that when I wasn't at home, I was financially dependent on him because I had no job. I was in college, I had zero money. So he knew I was financially dependent on him. So he bought the food. And that's a big thing because he always wanted to eat out, and then I thought that was fine. But now looking back at it, he wanted us to eat fast food together so that I would gain weight, which I did. I gained 2 stone in the time that we were together in 14 months because he thought that nobody would want me if I was fat. He said it himself after we split up, so he wanted me to gain weight so that nobody else would want me, so that nobody would look at me, which is disgusting in itself. But it got worse. He used to log onto my Facebook and he'd start arguments with my friends, and then he'd delete the chat, so I had no idea what was going on, so I just thought all my friends hated me. He persuaded me to quit college because he thought that doing performing arts wasn't going to get me anywhere. So instead, he wanted me to sit at his house and wait for him all day after work. And he wanted me to hang out with his mum all the time, which was fine. I liked his mum. Liked being the key word. I liked his mum, she was nice. But she also spent the day telling me about how great Ian is. How great my partner at the time, I've just said his name, and he's my daughter's dad now. We sat down and we had a conversation about, obviously because we were engaged, we had a conversation about moving out, having a kid and all this. He now denies that Samantha Ann Bernard, who is my daughter, was planned. She was planned, 100% planned. I went off birth control for him. The amount of pregnancy tests he bought me because he wanted me to be pregnant is kind of ridiculous. Like, I'd take one like a couple times a month, even though my periods were messed up anyway, so I wouldn't necessarily know, because I wouldn't miss a period because I wouldn't have one, because my birth control messed it up. But he would buy me several a month because we wanted this baby. But he also admitted to this after we'd split up. He wanted me to have a baby because he wanted me to sit at home with the child all day and wait for him to come home from work, and for me to cook him dinner, and for me to clean up. And at that point I thought that was a lifestyle I wanted, because that's what he had drilled into my head. But when I met this boy, I had so many dreams and aspirations. All my life I wanted to be an actress. Pretty much from the day I met him, my anxiety got worse, my depression got worse. I can't remember a time now that I was genuinely happy with him. And that's the worst bit. At that time, he was the love of my life. He was my first grown-up love, my mum likes to call it. He was the person I saw myself marrying. And it took for me to have my daughter to realise he was not the man that I wanted her to be with. I do not want her to be with anybody like him. And that's how I became stronger. I know this story doesn't seem as bad, so to say, than if I sat here and turned around and said he beat me up every day. I know that because in society's eyes, actual physical abuse and sexual abuse are way more, not important, but they're more serious, I suppose, to a lot of people, not to everyone, but to a lot of people, than emotional abuse and mental abuse. But I wanted to share my story with you guys because now I am 22 years old. I have a beautiful 3-year-old girl. She's nearly 4. But I have a beautiful little girl. I have my own home. Granted, I need to tidy it up, but I have my own home. I have my own job. I have my own friends. I have my family back. I have everything that I wanted, apart from the job, because it's not the right job for what I wanted then. But I have everything I pretty much aspired to have, just 5 years late. But it happened. And I know this sounds a bit ridiculous, but it happened. Even if it was 5 years late, it happened regardless of the fact that this rubbish time happened in my life. I still got what I wanted. It took a lot, and it's still taking a lot. And it will probably always take a lot. But it happened, and it can happen for you guys too. And I'm so glad I didn't cry during this, because I've been crying all the way home thinking about making this video. Thank you for watching, if you did. And if you didn't, then you can't see this anyway. I shall see you soon. I'm sorry for not uploading very often. I'm, a bit busy. I shall speak to you soon. Love you all. Bye.